Hello, Movie Crusaders, and welcome to another end-of-month movie roundup. My name is Sean Wasker. With me, as always, is Brian Michaels, and we are talking about all the movies that have come out in July, not named Jurassic World Rebirth, Superman, and Fantastic Four: The First Steps. If you guys want to know our thoughts on those, there are separate videos for those movies individually. But we are here to talk about all the other movies. Well, wait, there wasn't that many movies, was there? Very bare month, wasn't it? Yeah, we were if you guys have watched these before, we usually are going into like 10 to 15 movies for the month. We're like, oh man, we're talking about too much. Whereas like we're trying to like come up with at least 6 to talk about for this. And it's not even that there's bad movies, it's just that for July, this is a very bare July.
There's a lot of stuff I didn't bother watching. There's some stuff Sean didn't bother watching. So it's like we have I think 3 that we both seen, and then a lot of individuals.
Yeah, there's 3 that we can talk about together. And there's a lot of individual stuff. And I think the only movie that neither one of us saw that is considered a big movie would be Eddington. Brian is not an Ari Aster person. I was going into it with the mindset of it's going to be Ari Aster, so some horror elements. It's not. I tried, guys. I did. I walked out. I don't walk out of movies. I don't. I got about 50 minutes in, and I was like, "Fuck this movie," and I walked out. And that says something. That is not a review for me. I think I wasn't in the mood for the context of what the film was. I thought it was kind of like bullet points that was going to lead into something bigger. And granted, it's a 2.5-hour movie. I watched 50 minutes of it. But after 50 minutes, and it was still just like the bullshit that was basically 2020, and it didn't look like it was going to go any better than that, I was like, you know what? I got other shit to do. I'm not wasting another hour, 40 minutes on this crap, and I left.
I felt the same way. It was like a 2.5-minute trailer, and I only made about 15 seconds because I'm not going to spend another minute and 40 seconds on it.
I was fully intent, like, this is going to cause a powder keg, and it's going to go horror element. And then I was like, no, it's not. This is just going to be a bunch of bullshit that we basically can read on Twitter or X and Facebook about a bunch of people who just don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And while I like Joaquin Phoenix and Pedro and Emma Stone, I don't want to sit here for another hour and 40 listening to this bullshit, so I'm out. So there's a brief little review of Eddington. I'm sure if you cared about the context of what that story was, the movie's probably fine. It was never a, wow, this movie sucks. It is a, I don't give a fucking shit about the context of what this movie's about. So for me, I'm walking out. It's no different than the like those British like Pride and Prejudice kind of movies. Like, I'm sure that those have some really great films. They're not my cup of tea, so I don't care to watch them. Same thing with a lot of fucking Holocaust or Nazi movies. I refuse to watch Schindler's List. I'm sure Schindler's List is a phenomenal fucking film. I refuse to watch it because I don't want to watch that crap. That doesn't make it a bad movie. It just means it's not my movie. So I'm not going to watch that. And Eddington, after 50 minutes, I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to watch this and review this positively because I don't give a shit. And I left. So, yeah. I'm sure it's good for the people who care about that context. It was not for me. So I did not watch that movie anymore. But we are going to talk about some other movies, though. And the first one is going to be on Amazon Prime. This was a movie that we brought up on one of our Movie Crusaders chat abouts when we were going over like trailers, or it might have been during the summer movie preview. And that is Heads of State. Stars Idris Elba, John Cena, and I can never say this woman's name right.
Priyanka Chopra Jonas.
Thank you so fucking much for doing that for me. This was one that I saw the trailer for this, and I was like, this looks fun as hell. And I remember Brian was like, it's either going to be fun as hell or it's going to be stupid as shit. And I will say, at least on my side of things, this was fun as hell. I had a lot of fun with Heads of State. And between this and Deep Cover, which also was out on Prime last month, Amazon Prime is really showing itself in at least in the summer on its movies. How are you feeling about Heads of State?
Yeah, well, like you said, I was like, it could go either way before it came out. I watched it, and I will say for the first, I don't know, 20 minutes, half hour, I was worried. I'm like, okay, this just feels like a low budget, made for streaming, not very fun. It felt, you know what it felt like? It felt like what was the John Cena one with Alison Brie in it?
Oh,
You know what I'm
movie
talking
sucked.
about, right?
Yes, that movie sucked.
Okay. It felt like that to me. And I was like, oh no,
Keep going. I'll look it up.
this is not gonna be very good. But then like once kind of it really started going, once you had the two of them together, kind of the plane had been shot down.
Freelance.
Yes. And kind of the adventure started. And you start, and basically the two of them together, obviously from Suicide Squad, you saw like kind of the wonderful chemistry these two guys can have together, and they carry that over here. So once you got them together and the movie really started going, I really did enjoy it quite a bit. I had a ton of fun with it. It's not going to make any awards. It's not even going to be on my top 10 of the year or anything like that. But it was fun. It was like I said with Deep Cover when we reviewed that. Amazon Prime seems to be cornering the market on this, because what we miss is kind of these mid-budget movies. They aren't the giant blockbusters. They aren't the tiny indies. It's just like, this can be an action movie that's just fun.
I felt the same way. You didn't like the movie last year, but I felt the same way like when they did Jackpot last year. It's like, it felt very much like a of its time kind of a 90s throwback comedy, once again also with John Cena, that I actually had a lot of fun and enjoyed watching that. Kimberly and I sat down, we watched it together, and we were laughing and having a good time. Brian watched it by himself. He didn't have that same experience, and maybe it was because I had Kimberly there next to me and we were kind of laughing and enjoying it together. If I was watching it by myself, maybe I wouldn't have felt that way. Heads of State, I did watch by myself, and I had fun the whole fucking way through. I think the first 20 minutes, I think it's just because they're setting the table of who these two characters are. But yeah, once they come together and we get into the meat and the bones of like what this movie is, it never looked back. Idris is playing Idris, which is like just one of the coolest motherfuckers on the planet. And John Cena is playing, I would say not John Cena, because like he's portrayed as like this actor badass who's president, but he's not a badass. It's how he's portrayed. Okay. It'd be like meeting John Cena in real life. Like, oh, you're a professional wrestler. You beat up every motherfucker in the world. It's like, no, I'm a professional wrestler. And that's not a diss on professional wrestling, but it's like, that doesn't mean I'm going to jump in the fucking, octagon and fight like every MMA fighter and beat their ass. Like, I'm probably going to get my ass kicked if I fight them, because they're trained fucking fighters. And he's kind of like Arnold in a way. He's kind of like Arnold if Arnold was president. And it's got that fun atmosphere to it where it's like he's used to picking up fake guns for movies, so when he picks up a real gun, it doesn't have the same weight to it. And there's all these great fun jokes. The action sequences I thought were really well done for what they were doing. I thought villain wise, Paddy Considine, he's been all over the place this past year. He was also in Deep Cover as well, and he was in at least one other movie this year. I'm trying to remember what it was, but Patty, after House of the Dragon, Patty's been like finally getting some fucking movies. Carla Gugino, Stephen Root, Jack Quaid's got a great small like one scene.
Yeah, Jack Quaid was in this movie far too short, but I loved him in it. He was fun in this part. Yeah,
Jack Quaid. Sarah Niles is great in this as well. But Priyanka, she's great in this movie. She plays an awesome badass. I would love to see her in more action shit too, especially after this. But yeah, I had fun with this. It's I would be totally up to watching these two do another like a sequel to this. Like if they wanted to keep like these two together and like do like they're not maybe they're not the president and heads of state anymore. Kind of like My Fellow Americans, where it's like they're not the presidents anymore, but they're still the presidents. And then you do something else with them. Like I would be down to watch them do it again.
What streaming service? I think it was Netflix. Did G7?
G7
Was that what it's called? Or G20? G20 was called.
That was Prime.
Was it Prime? So throw Viola Davis in here with them, which would be another the Suicide Squad reunion, by the way.
Yes.
And have all
like I said, Prime has been killing it this summer. G20 was also, I think, last month or May. I usually don't care for Prime movies, but Prime has really been kind of coming out with these action comedy or just straight action movies, and they've been fucking fun. And yeah, G20 was another one that I liked, but I ended up giving it 4 stars. I had a lot of fun with it. It's one that I can easily go back and rewatch over and over again and just have a good time. I can do other things while watching it, but then just still sit down and just waste time watching this movie again. What did you end up giving it?
I gave it 3.5. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I think that, like I said, it does start off a little rough, but the jokes aren't landing. But once it gets going, it's really a lot of fun. I think that it's especially towards the end. The big reveals are highly predictable from the beginning of the movie. But I still enjoyed it a lot. I especially enjoyed a lot of the supporting cast. I mean, you got Stephen Root and Carla Gugino and all those people in there. I liked it.
Oh yeah, all people that we enjoy and other things. So
Yeah.
it's just kept being one of those things where they pop up like, I didn't know they were in this movie. Awesome. And we knew Jack Quaid was in this, and Jack Quaid does not disappoint. He's had a great year. And does he have anything else this year, or are we finally done with Jack Quaid for the year?
I think he still has a Guy Ritchie movie, but I think that got bumped to next year.
I was like, this has been a Jack Quaid year. Like Nicholas Hoult last year, this has been a Jack Quaid year. I think it's like his 4th movie.
So Jack Quaid this year has had Companion, Novocaine, Neighborhood Watch, and Heads of State. And what was the other one he had coming out? Yeah, I don't have it right here. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, why don't you go now with your next film?
Okay. I'll knock one of mine out. I saw The Home. This is a new horror movie starring Pete Davidson.
I want to see this. I just have not got to yet.
This is from the director of, I think he did like 3 of the Purge movies. He's done a couple other small things. This trailer looked intriguing to me. I'm not a huge fan of Pete Davidson.
He's touch and go for me. It depends on the movie.
I have found that he's one of those guys who I think I can find funny in limited doses. Like if he shows up in a supporting role in a movie, which he's done a lot of that thing, I enjoy him.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think I really want to watch him star in a movie, at least a comedy. He was in this one, and I will say, this was not a great movie, but he wasn't the problem. I thought he was fine. I thought, I mean, he plays the role of like this kid's gotten into a lot of trouble, and he's got to do this basically community service to avoid going to jail. He has to be basically the caretaker, the custodian in this nursing home kind of place. Okay. Yeah. And basically the basic plot of the movie is that, and then he finds it's all kind of, he uncovers this mystery of there's some weird shit going on, which I won't spoil here. It's definitely got some body horror elements to it. It's definitely got some, it tries to fill itself with lots of jump scares, things like that. It's in the end, I wasn't super impressed by it, but I don't regret seeing it. I mean, if you like some thrillers, like some kind of weird shit going on, it's enjoyable. I'd say tone wise, I'd say it's probably closest to something like Get Out. It's not the quality of Get Out, but in terms of like kind of the tone of the horror thriller aspect of it, it's probably about that.
What'd you end up giving it?
So I gave it 2.5 stars. Like I said, Pete Davidson was not the problem. There was some plot issues that I had issues with, but it was fine.
So would you say if it becomes available for me to watch, should I waste my time with it or not?
I think if you can watch it for free, pops up on Netflix or something, sure, check it out, because you can always turn it off if you don't enjoy it. But it's probably worth checking out, but it's not a must see by any means.
Yeah, so definitely don't waste like one of your free tickets for like Cinemark or AMC on it, like I did for Eddington.
like me, I usually have more AMC A-list slots than I can use in a week, so I don't mind throwing one on stuff like this. But if you're like paying for movies, or if you only get like one a week or something like that, then no, I wouldn't prioritize.
Yeah, I have like 9 or 10 like free credits for my Cinemark thing, and I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll just use it for Eddington. I was like, wow, I wish I hadn't done that, but at least I didn't pay for it. All right, so my next one, we don't do a lot of TV on here, but it's MCU. So Ironheart came out about the end of June, but finished in July. Brian did not see it. He had no interest in it. I, granted, didn't really have much interest in it either, but there was one reason why I watched this. That's because Anthony Ramos. We both love Anthony Ramos so much. So knowing that he was the titular bad guy in this, I was like, I don't really care about Ironheart, because frankly, Black Panther Wakanda Forever feels like a fever dream to me. I watched it in theaters, and I have not watched it since, nor do I really remember much about Riri Williams in that, but I really want to see Anthony Ramos as a villain, so fuck it, I'll watch it.
Oh, and just
And
sorry to interrupt you. Brief sidebar. Anthony Ramos. You might have seen us review a long time ago a movie called Distant or Long Distance. It just finally dropped completely silently on Hulu. So if you want to check that out, Anthony Ramos and Naomi Scott. It's on Hulu now. Sorry, go ahead now.
I still have not watched that yet. That was one of the Brian reviews. I do need to watch it, but I have not watched it yet. Ironheart, it takes place after the events of Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Riri is back from Wakanda. She's back in Chicago. It's a very Chicago-centric story, which is right up Brian's alley because Brian's a Chicago guy. And basically, she doesn't have money to make her suits because she's, poor. Not poor, but she's not Wakanda rich or anything. So she has to find ways in order to basically make her suit, and it basically causes her to join a crime group ran by Parker Robbins, aka Anthony Ramos, who goes by the Hood. And basically by helping them out, to do these certain criminal acts, she's getting paid, which she can then use to help with her suit. So she has to kind of get her hands dirty in order for the better good.
So she's participating in crimes in order to get money to build a suit.
It's one of those things where they portray it to her that it's crimes against like evil corporations. So she's like kind of like not that they do this. It's kind of like those same people who are like, we're gonna go free the monkeys that are being scientifically tested on because that's wrong. Like they portray it to her that it's being done. Like these are people who are taking advantage of the lesser than, and so we're doing good, but it's still breaking the law kind of thing. Like they're not going and like murdering people, but she's also like, you're doing this logistics side of things. You're not actually in the real part where like, oh no, this is actually like us doing bad shit. So she's kind of like there, but she's not in the loop kind of thing. Which doesn't last very long. And then all of a sudden she, basically goes against the group. It's 6 episodes, guys. It doesn't take long to get into it. I will say this. This was better than I thought. This was way better than I thought it was going to be. I thought Anthony Ramos was great in the in the show. The thing that works for me in this, and the reason I think I enjoyed Ironheart more so than a lot of the MCU shows recently, the supporting cast around Dominique Thorne is great. It's got a central storyline about loss and guilt of the loss of a loved one. And I think in the ways that they utilize that, it is done beautifully well. I think her friends, her family, even the crime group, because they're very much of a family, like kind of like a Robin Hood, like Prince of Thieves kind of mindset of it. I think all the cast around Dominique Thorne is utilized and are fun and are actually really well written and done in the movie or in the show. And I would have loved if they actually went longer than the 6 episodes. Dominique Thorne is probably the one part that I couldn't really gravitate towards. And it's not her acting. She's great. It's the Riri Williams character. She's a very unlikable character. She's very much like Tony Stark, but she doesn't have the charisma of Robert Downey Jr. She's egotistical, she's selfish, she's manipulative, she's all these things. And if it wasn't for the people around her that like really love her and like are there to defend her, she's a very unlikable character. But because she has these people around her, you're like, well, they clearly know something that we don't, and they eventually do bring that out of her in this. And I will say Lyric Ross, who plays Natalie, she's the standout in this. And I won't say much more about that because there's very spoiler heavy shit when it comes to this Natalie character, but I thought Lyric Ross was fantastic in this. And her and Dominique's relationship through the show is literally what drives the story through this. And then of course Anthony Ramos is fantastic in the film or in the show. Plus it does the one thing that every MCU show since WandaVision has been asking for. I'm not going to say what it is, but if you have been watching these MCU witch shows, there's a certain name that's been dropped through all of them ad nauseum, and they finally fucking do it. And I was happy with the person that they got to portray this character. I was surprised. Also, stand out. Alden Ehrenreich is great in this show. He's so fucking fun in this. And I was so happy that he popped up because this guy, everyone still looks at this guy as the guy who tried to be Han Solo and failed. He didn't fail. He was a very good Han Solo.
He was good.
He was a very good Han Solo. It was a script decision that failed him. And he is a guy who just has not gotten out of that shadow of it. But I have liked him, and Brian has too, and everything that he has done. And he is great in this. I can't say what he is because he's a spoiler character, but he is a lot of fun in this show as well. I had a blast with Ironheart. I gave it 3.5 stars. But I think that if you like any aspects, I think the iron suit for her is more, I don't want to say practical because it's a fucking iron suit. It looks better than it did in Wakanda Forever. It's less CG-ish. It feels more lived in. It feels more real. But yeah, I actually liked it a lot. I thought Ironheart was fun, and I would rewatch it again if I needed to, for like storyline purposes and stuff like that. And I feel like if you're like Brian, who, like I said, didn't really care for the character for Wakanda Forever, much like me, I do think that once you get past the first episode or two, because you still have to kind of get through the reread of it all, and you start to really dig in deep with her supporting cast, that by the end of it, you go, you know what? That was good. That was good. So, like I said, 3.5 for me for Ironheart.
Next, let's go with just today. I watched a movie called Ick. Ick is a horror movie. I didn't
know existed until he told me. I was like, what the fuck is Ick?
Well, this is another one of those Fathom Events releases. It's only going to play for a few days. It's a very limited, and even it's like once a day. It's a very limited release. Ick is directed by Joseph Kahn, who is the director of such classics as Torque and Detention and Bodied.
See, all you had to say was Torque, and that had Brian locked in.
And Detention,
like one of Brian's ultimate guilty pleasures.
Even better than Torque. Yeah, he's better than Torque. He's on. I said Detention is better than Torque.
Oh yeah, well, yeah.
He's a big guilty pleasure director for me. I think his stuff is fun. His sensibilities in terms of comedy and in terms of the way he edits movies and things, it really appeals to me personally. Although I understand not everyone will love this stuff. This is a horror movie, essentially very much like I've heard it referred to as The Faculty, compared to The Faculty. I've heard it compared to Slither. It is very much like those movies, maybe a little bit more comedic. It stars Brandon Routh and Mina Suvari are the two names you really know. Melina Weissman is the other kind of main character. She is best known for playing Violet on the TV version or the Netflix version of Series of Unfortunate Events. She's kind of the main female star of this movie. I really, really wanted to like this movie, and it definitely has the same style in terms of editing, in terms of the pacing of like Detention, which is going to drive a lot of people nuts because it's kind of random and kind of frenetic at points. It kind of feels like it's rushing, especially in the beginning of the movie. But the problem is this movie, while it shares kind of the style of those, it doesn't have the story. I didn't think the story was great. I don't think the writing was great. Brandon Routh, he was fine in this movie. Brandon Routh is a guy kind of like you were talking with Alden Ehrenreich, where it's like, this is a guy I like. He was, in this Superman film that it I don't know financially if it did great, but obviously critically it didn't seem to do very well because he didn't stick around as Superman. He's so people look at him as like the guy who only got to do one Superman movie. And he's done lots of stuff since then, whether it be just brief parts in Scott Pilgrim or, he starred in a horror movie that ended up getting trashed called Dylan Dog, some Dead of Night or something like that. Which I actually thought was fun, but it's also a movie that had like its budget like slashed in half like 2 days before it filmed, and it shows. It's not a great movie. So Brandon Routh's one of those kind of unlucky actors who I really like him, and I think he does comedy really well too, but he's just can't seem to get in a successful project.
I love Brandon Routh, but I 1,000% agree with you. He's a guy who deserves more. We need him to get like a Josh Hartnett assance, but it wouldn't even be an assance for him because he just outside of Superman, he just isn't. And Scott Pilgrim, he's never gotten his fair shake. Yeah,
he's never really gotten to do much else, and I wish he did because I really like him. And I think he, especially in comedies, I think he's really good.
He was great in BBC Legends of Tomorrow.
See, I didn't watch any of those CW.
Yeah, he was great. He was great in that. It won like 7 seasons, but yeah.
Yeah. So I only gave this a 2.5 stars. Again, it wasn't awful. I actually toyed with a 3 for a short time. I'm like, I can't give it a 3-star because it's not very good. It's okay. It's something, again, to watch as a distraction if you're flipping through Netflix or something eventually and you see it on there. But don't go out of your way to see this movie, and don't expect the greatness of detention.
You keep bringing up. I guarantee you, like maybe a 10% of our people watching this probably know what detention is. If you watch our Halloween episode, you know what detention is because we've talked about it a lot. I only have one more from that we have not seen together. How many more do you got?
I have one, and even that I'm just going to talk briefly about. So go ahead.
Okay. My next one is Netflix's The Old Guard 2. Now, this was one that Brian and I both watched the first one. We both seemed to like the first one, but if you gave us a trivia match on Old Guard, we would fucking suck because we don't remember the Old Guard very much. I had to go and watch because I was like, I'm not rewatching the whole fucking first film. I think I watched like a 10-minute video going over the first movie for me again, and it literally felt like I was watching it for the very first time because it just did not. Like,
I remember nothing about that movie.
It did not attach to me at all. General premise is you basically have this group led by Charlize Theron who are basically immortals. And instead of like kind of just living your immortal life and just kind of staying out of the fucking way, they go and they do missions that they probably shouldn't be doing, which is getting them in the limelight. And of course, you're not supposed to because you're supposed to not fucking let people know that you're invincible, basically, or immortal. But during the first movie, they find Kiki Lane, who ends up being like one of the last or the last immortal, and they have her join her group. And then you also have like Chiwetel Ejiofor, who's like a CIA agent or something like that, who kind of like figures out who they are and becomes kind of like their mortal like liaison kind of thing. But like they start to plant the seeds of a storyline. Like there's a character who was like the lover of Charlize Theron who got dropped in the ocean, and she's been trying to search for her for 1,000 years or hundreds of years or some shit like that. And you know, she's basically in the ocean, drowning, waking up, drowning, waking up. So like there's this like underlying storyline for that. Going into the sequel, it's kind of a lot of the same shit, but not as fun or as interesting or as entertaining. Everyone from the original film come back. Some are completely wasted and underutilized, like Chiwetel Ejiofor. Really, he served no purpose in the sequel other than you were in the first one, so we're going to put you in here. But
I forgot he was in the original. I don't remember him.
But literally, you could take him out of the movie, and the movie's still the same movie. New additions, you have Uma Thurman and Henry Golding, who basically play, I think Uma Thurman plays like the first immortal. So she's like more powerful than the others in terms of like, she just knows more shit. She knows how to fight better because she's been around longer. And Henry Golding is kind of like the immortal who like keeps track of everybody and like keeps tabs, and like he's kind of like the exposition dump guy who knows everything kind of thing. Like he's got all the library, he's got the big ass library of everything and all that kind of stuff. But basically, the reason why I brought up the friend of Charlize Theron who was dropped in the ocean is because Uma Thurman finds her and brings her back up, and so naturally, her friend, or it's actually a former lover, Charlize Theron, feels that Charlize wronged her because she never found her. So you have Uma and this other woman basically going against the crew, and they basically start setting up more mythology about the whole immortal thing, which I can explain, but technically it's spoiler, so I'm not going to. But it's not interesting at all. The action set pieces are very bland. The very end of the movie, you do get to have kind of like a sword fight with Charlize and Uma, which is cool because it's, you know, Kill Bill against Charlize. But this movie is all sorry. This movie is all just kind of place setting for a third film that's apparently going to happen at some point. But the first movie came out in I think it was 2020 or 2021 or some shit like that.
It's been a few years.
Yeah, and it took 4 years for the second one to come out. And this whole movie just
and I think the second one lost a lot of the audience in the first one. Like I didn't watch it, so
yeah, and the second one is basically kind of, I don't want to say redundant, but it's uneventful. It's not fun. It's not exciting. It's not memorable. Like I watched this 3 weeks ago, and I'm even having a hard time trying to remember enough to tell you guys about it. I just remember it ends like it's going to a commercial break, but then the credits start to roll. You're like, that was the fucking end? Like that was the end of the fucking movie? Fuck you. Like it has that abrupt of an ending that it's like, oh, okay, we're just fading to black to go to a new scene. Nope, that's the end of the movie. See you in 3 to 5 years for the third act of this story. I'm sorry, I don't care. I don't care enough. You haven't given me enough reason to care about these characters. More after 2 movies now, I care less about them after the first one to even want to waste my time with a third movie. It is, I would say it's a severe disappointment, but like I said, I barely remember the fucking first movie, and we both gave it, I think, 4 stars, which is even worse. We gave it such a high score and we don't remember it. Old Guard 2 was a massive.
You know what? I feel like it was 2020 because I think we were so starved for entertainment that we were like overrating movies. Honestly.
Yeah, because we were like, this is actually really good. And it's like, was it though? Like, it's fine, but it wasn't great. Because it's one of those that you watched it like 2 months later. I was like, I don't think we remembered it. But yeah, I would say this is a massive disappointment. I would say it's a massive disappointment, but you have to be excited for it to be a disappointment. Old Guard 2 just sucks. I gave it 2 stars, and even that I feel like was generous. Because once again, it's not any performance issues. I think everyone performing is fine. It's a shit script. It's an uneventful script, and the way it ends is one of the most bullshit endings in recent memory. That you just kind of felt cheated. But how cheated can you feel when the movie wasn't even entertaining to begin with? So yeah, definitely don't recommend Old Guard 2. It fucking sucks. But yeah, go ahead and go to your next one.
So Netflix puts out a lot of movies, and except for the biggest ones, they don't really promote them. They just a lot of times kind of things just show up on there, and they hope, I guess, that it gets kind of word of mouth and people start talking about it. And especially in terms of animation, there's a whole lot of animation, and most of it's crap. But I started hearing a lot about a movie called K-pop Demon Hunters. Okay, so I don't really care for like anime style animation, which it seemed like this was kind of leaning towards. I don't really care about K-pop music. I don't have anything against it, but I'm not a big fan of K-pop music, so I had no interest in this movie. Ignored it. Started hearing from people whose opinions I respect that it's a whole lot of fun and it's really good and the animation's great. And I'm like, I should check it out. So I did. I will say the animation is pretty damn good. It honestly feels like one that actually had a budget behind it. The animation feels, if I had to compare it to anything, probably closest to something like Spider-Verse. Just in terms of like the style of animation, I thought it was really well done. One of my drawbacks of the movie, however, was when they would go full anime, certain times, like certain facial expressions or certain actions they do, that felt very much at something out of anime, which I don't like, but that's just my personal opinion, which took me out of it. Story-wise, it's basically this trio of singers, this K-pop band, who, when they aren't singing, they're also like fighting demons, hence the K-pop Demon Hunters. And then there are some demons who decide they're going to come to our world in the form of a boy band to try to steal their fans and defeat them. And it's a silly plot, but it's actually kind of fun. I didn't love the movie. I won't call my favorite of the year or anything, but I enjoy it quite a bit. Like I said, the only drawbacks I have were sometimes when they get leaned a little bit too much in the anime. Didn't care for that. Also, anytime either band performed a song, they did the entire song. It's like I did not need to see like 10 whole musical numbers in this movie. You can just show up a portion of them performing the song at their concert and then go do whatever they're doing after the concert. But no, they performed entire songs every single time. Got to be a little bit much, but I'm sure the people out there that love that, people like K-pop music, who this is in theory made for. So I can't really call that a negative, just something that didn't, resonate for me. So in the end, I liked it. Gave it 3.5 stars. It was fun.
So not an Amona situation.
It's not an Amona. It's not an
So you're not telling me I need to watch it?
No.
Okay.
I think if you watched it, you would probably enjoy it. But again, it's not like a must see.
Gotcha. Do you have any others, or are we going into our first?
No, I saw some little stuff that's not worth talking about, but I won't bother.
Okay. So our next one came out, was it last week?
2 weeks.
Was it 2 weeks ago? Was it 2 weeks ago? And that is a continuation of a 90s horror class. I don't know if we call it
last week.
Was it last week?
Yeah.
When you think about the late 90s, to me, there's two very high-end teenage thrillers. You have Scream, obviously, and then you have I Know What You Did Last Summer. Scream came back, so naturally I Know What You Did Last Summer had to come back too. And this is that movie. I wish they wouldn't still have called it I Know What You Did Last Summer, but Scream did that, and it worked. So we've got I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025. What I remember from the old ones is my best friend Ryan, not Brian, but Ryan. We were both probably like 11 and 12 when these came out. So he fell in love with Neve Campbell, and I fell in love with Jennifer Love Hewitt. So it was like, you can have Nevy, I got Lovey. And that was kind of our whole thing.
Nevy and Lovey? Wow.
Nevy and Lovey. And then they made a sequel. Not nearly as strong as Scream, obviously. But yeah, they were two harmless horror films that happened in the late 90s. They were fine. You had Freddie Prinze Jr., Sarah Michelle Gellar, Ryan Phillippe. I'm trying to remember who was in the sequel. Brandy was in the sequel, but I can't remember if Mekhi Phifer or Omar Epps. One of them was in the sequel.
Phifer, Jack Black showed up in that one.
Yeah, Jack Black had a small part in it. Like I said, they were fine for what they were. It basically was these stupid teenage kids hit a body, and they were freaked out because we're so going to go to jail, and they basically just dumped the body. And then a year later, they get a note saying, I know what you did last summer, and a hook man starts to try to kill them. That's the premise of the old one. Then we got this new one, which basically is it's a remake, but it's not a remake because Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. are in this one as the same character. So
yep.
Yeah, it's a requel. I fucking hated it. I thought this sucked ass. It really, really fucking did. I don't know if Brian liked it, but I really hated this movie. I will say this: if I'm going to give a positive somewhere, Chase Sue Wonders, who plays the final girl, I guess. I think her character name is Ava. She's fine. She's fine in it. Like she's not like Jennifer Love Hewitt or Neve Campbell. She's not like an iconic final girl or anything. And even then, nope, can't say that. That's a spoiler. But I would consider her probably one of the final girl of the movie. I think she's decent. She's not great. She's decent. Freddie Prinze Jr., he doesn't do a lot of acting anymore, so I do get kind of excited when I see him. He was never the greatest actor, but he's of my generation. So when I see him, I'm like, hey, Freddie. He's fine in it. And Jennifer Love Hewitt, completely underutilized. You bring back the lead of your old franchise, and then you really don't utilize her. I feel like they forgot about her, and then near the end of the movie, like, oh wait, we have Jennifer, let's use her. And then they're like, okay, well, let's redo the ending and have this extra added shit, which does not work. And because of that, made me hate it even more. The dialogue is some of the worst fucking cringy ass dialogue in recent memory. Because of that, I wanted every character to die. I hated all these characters. There's not, I guess Ava is the least hateable. So I guess I liked her in that respect, but it's not an acting problem. It's a dialogue problem. There's so many lines of dialogue in this movie where I'm like, I kind of want to see you get killed, so I don't have to hear you talk anymore because your dialogue is that bad. Madeline Klein, who plays like the best friend, Danica, every time she talks, I just wanted her to die. It's not a performance problem. She's not a bad actress in this. It's just her, every line she has is so cringeworthy, like awful. And then you have Tyreek Withers, who plays Teddy. This dude, and I don't know if you'll agree with me on that, but from line one of this movie, this dude is putting on an Oscar-worthy impression of Channing Tatum. This guy has his dialect down, his movements down. The only thing he's not doing is breakdancing. But this dude, literally, if I closed my eyes and I was a blind person and I could not see the screen, I would have thought that Channing Tatum was in this movie. Because there is never a moment in this movie where I feel like this guy is himself. He's doing Channing Tatum. Did you see that at all?
Well, if you close your eyes, you don't need to be a blind person, because if you're blind, you don't need to close your eyes. Anyway.
Shut up. You know what I'm saying. But like literally,
I definitely heard it in the voice for sure.
He's 100%. Every time he talked, I just heard Channing Tatum.
Like, it has that same kind of. Yeah.
He has that moment right before the shit happens where he's like, "Man, this is awesome," and I'm like, "Why does this guy sound like Channing Tatum?" And as soon as that happened, I was gone, because everything after that was just Channing Tatum. Apparently, Isaiah Mustafa is in this, and I don't recall seeing him in this fucking movie. He's on the cast. I don't recall seeing him in this fucking movie. And people who don't know who Isaiah Mustafa is, he's the Old Spice guy, like, I'm on a horse kind of dude. And he's in other things too, but most people know him from the Old Spice commercials. I like the guy. Apparently he's on the cast list. I don't fucking remember him in the movie at all. The kills are uneventful. There's one character aspect in the movie I can't say because it's spoiler, where one of the guys does something that's so fucking stupid that I'm like, yeah, you just deserve to die. You just deserve to die. There are characters who have lost people who they love, and then within 2 scenes act like they didn't lose that person anymore and move on to someone else, which I thought was like, none of that resonates with you. Like, aren't they like someone you loved? It's just everything about this movie sucked. The killer reveal, not shocking. Pretty on the nose. Even the twist of it all, not shocking. It looks like they're trying to set it up for a fucking sequel. No, thank you. Yeah, I absolutely hated this fucking film. I gave it 1.5, and even that was generous. Yeah, I fucking hated this movie. Brian?
Yeah, well, so there was that, kind of that late 90s. There was kind of the poster children for the horror scene then was Scream, which kind of started off the whole resurgence. And I guess the next biggest one was I Know What You Did Last Summer. There was other ones, it's Urban Legends and things like that.
Yeah, I was like, Urban Legend probably would have been a distant third.
These were kind of the main two. And so I Know What You Did Last Summer, even though it was based on a book that came out earlier, but but the movie came out after. It's always kind of been playing copycat. You did Scream, did this one. You did Scream 2. You didn't know. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. They came out with a TV series for Scream. They came out with a TV series version of I Know What You Did Last Summer, which equally short lived.
No, Scream had 3 seasons. Scream had,
but I'm talking about this one. This one lasted for like 1 season.
I don't even remember this. I don't even remember this having a TV series.
Yeah, this is only a couple of years ago. It was not that long ago.
I was like, Scream had 3-4 seasons.
And so Scream kind of came back, kind of with their requel. They came back and did the new Scream and Scream 6. So you knew this one was coming back too, and it did. And of course, they were going to bring back a couple of the main stars, the surviving characters. Yeah, this wasn't good. The story is, like you said, is kind of trying to copy the old one, but it'd be a sequel, so it's not exactly the same. Which my biggest problem with this movie is that, okay, so in the original movie,
I saved this for you because I saw it in your review, and I was like, this is Brian's. I gotta let Brian have this one.
Yes, because the statute of limitations on spoilers is gone since 1997. In the original movie, they hit a guy. They think they've killed him. They're going to get rid of the body. Turns out he's still alive at the last minute. So then they intentionally push him in the water and drown him and let him die. So that's something you got to keep a secret, right? Okay, in this movie,
Fucking murder.
there at one point, basically they end up in the middle of the road, and a car comes around, and they're there, and he swerves and goes over the edge, and somebody dies. Guess what? You didn't commit a crime. If you had just gone and reported this to police instead of trying to keep this secret, nobody would have had any problems. There'd be no repercussions, no legal issues, nothing. So
You're
the
no
whole
different than being a deer in the road. Like you didn't do anything technically wrong. You actually
right,
tried.
if they did something to intentionally drive this guy off the road, that's one thing. But they just happened to be in the middle of the road, and he swerved and went off the road. So I won't go into any more details than that, but that's just that's how the movie starts off, essentially.
Yeah.
So basically the whole crux that the movie is based on is like, okay, this is dumb because they didn't actually need to have this mysterious secret. Like you, I found the ending, the killer, to be completely predictable. Every aspect of the ending I thought was completely predictable from very early on in the movie. I think the way they chose, because obviously they wanted to bring back these stars from the original, I think the way that they're connected is just completely stupid. It's like, hey, you want to escape the killer, so what do we need to do in this situation? And they start giving like their expert advice. It's like, it's not the same guy. It's like, what makes you think that the way they happen to escape this guy who was trying to kill them is going to be what you need to do to take care of your situation? And it's just like the fact that they even pull them into this world is just completely stupid.
Yeah, it's like it's not it's not like Jason or Freddy. You shoot the fucker.
Yeah.
Or you trap him so he gets arrested. He's not supernatural. It's just a person.
Yeah.
It's like you just stop him like any other normal person.
Yeah, like you, I found pretty much the whole cast to be bland and forgettable. The one possible exception, like you said, is the main, the final girl, who I also know she was just in the Studio, which I finally watched.
Yeah,
Seth Rogen's series. So I thought she was pretty good in that. So she was fine in this. Nothing great, but she was not as bland as the rest of them. So overall, yeah, a kind of disappointing movie. I gave it 2.5. That might be a little bit generous. I didn't hate it as much as Sean did, but I certainly wouldn't call it a good movie. And I will say, like I said in my review, the best thing about this was the reference to Nicole Kidman's AMC ads, which are annoying as hell.
Yeah. Sorry. I know I have the next review, so I'm trying to calm myself down. Next, it's a solo review for me because Brian has not watched it yet, nor does he seem to be in any rush to watch it, because I figured he would have watched it by now, and that is Happy Gilmore 2 on Netflix. You weren't a fan of the first Happy Gilmore, were you? Is that why you're not rushing to see it?
I'm not a fan of Adam Sandler comedies in general. Happy Gilmore is one of the more tolerable ones, I will say. It's got some laughs in it for me, but I was not like looking forward to a sequel. But I was like, you know what? I'll check it out. But then having heard from people who love Adam Sandler movies, who even they are saying this is kind of made me be like, I'm not going to bother. At least not anytime soon.
Right. Well, I loved Happy Gilmore. I loved the first one. Watched it many, many times. That and Billy Madison and 90s Adam Sandler I thought was great. It wasn't until like Little Nicky and even Mr. Deeds where I was like, meh. But pre those, loved Adam Sandler. So when I heard that they were bringing Happy Gilmore 2 back, I was like, I mean, okay, but please don't fuck it up, because I love Happy Gilmore. I will say this. I didn't I'm sorry. I've had this cough for like a month, guys. It won't go away. I enjoyed parts. I think that they can't get out of their own way in other aspects of it. But overall, I had an enjoyable time with Happy Gilmore 2. I would watch it again. I'm not going to watch it as much as Happy Gilmore was. There are story elements that work. One of the big problems, though, is they treat everyone like no one has seen Happy Gilmore, or no one has seen Happy Gilmore since it came out in, like, was it fucking 97? Because they waste so much time in this movie re-showing you stuff from the first film. They'll excuse me. They'll bring a character in that had maybe a scene in the first movie, and then we'll go back and show you that part of that scene from the first movie. They go, hey, you remember this guy? He was from this scene in this one moment. Hey, if you don't remember, here's a quick snippet of showing that one moment. Okay, you know who he is? All right, let's go back. I don't fucking need 15 callback scenes to Happy Gilmore. Now, if it's like grown-ups or something like that, where not as popular, but probably his most popular or second most popular film, I don't need you to come back and show me 15 fucking times who these characters are because I don't remember. If you're a fan of Happy Gilmore, you probably either A, rewatched it before this movie came out, or B, remember all these things where you don't need to be retold. Stop treating your fans like they're fucking idiots, because it's insulting after a point. And the movie does it so fucking much that it's annoying. It still has the same Adam Sandler problems that most of his Adam Sandler films have now. He feels the need that he has to bring in every single one of his friends. And the problem with that is, it's one thing if they're in it and they're just in it, but he also feels like it's almost like a sitcom thing where it's like, hey, you remember this guy from these like 8 other Adam Sandler films? Well, cool, here he is. Camera, focus on him. Stay on him. So you guys can all know that this is the lazy-eyed dude from like Waterboy and all these other films. Cool, you guys recognize it's him? Great, now let's move on. You don't fucking need to do that. He's not an important character. He's in like 2 scenes tops. I don't give a shit that this guy's in the movie. Oh, hey, here's Rob Schneider. I don't need to focus on Rob Schneider. Just, boom, there he is. Move on. They feel the need to do a lot of the issues that makes the Adam Sandler movies suck now. There's certain jokes that just aren't funny, that they have to beat it into our head 8 more times with the same joke, and it's less funny each time you do it. And like I said, they just can't get out of their own way when it comes to that shit. And because of that, it's not as good as it could have been. Now, there is a good story in this, and there's a good performance from Adam Sandler in this movie. It happens in the first 5 minutes, so not necessarily a spoiler, but Julie Bowen, who plays the love interest in the first one, Virginia, she dies. I'm not going to tell you how, but she dies, and basically Happy goes into the state of depression. He quits golf and all that stuff, and that's kind of where we're at with Happy in the story, is that they have 5 kids, 4 boys, 1 girl. The girl is this like dancing aficionado, and they're trying to get her to go to this like dancing school in Paris. Happy doesn't have any more money anymore because he's become an alcoholic because of the death of Virginia. This is all plot. This is not spoiler. So he has to get back into golf to basically pay for his daughter to go to this school. That's the whole reasoning for why he's doing everything. That is a very good story. That's a very good plot. It's got heart. It's got emotional weight to it. And Adam does a great job with these moments. And then they add this secondary subplot with this, like, which very reminiscent of today. There's a new version of golf that's coming out called Maxi. Don't know why they use that word, because it just reminded me of Maxi Pad, the whole movie. And it's run by Benny Safdie, one of the Safdie brothers. Dude's not a good actor. So you have this like new version of golf, and that ends up becoming like the third act plot. Is it a new thing to give the movie? Sure. And it's a new third act thing you can have, which is kind of fun, but they really don't explain the rules of the new golf. So it's kind of like we're just watching them hit balls and do weird things, but I have no fucking idea what's going on because they don't explain it. And it's just wacky to be wacky. But the underlying story of Happy having to get through his alcoholism, Happy trying to save money to become basically a better dad and kind of learn to be a dad without Virginia and take care of his kids. That stuff's all good. And when golf is the focal point, when Happy Gilmore is being Happy Gilmore, it is actually enjoyable and fun and actually a good time. It's when they have to throw in all these Adam Sandler Netflix jokes. And I say Adam Sandler Netflix because as soon as Adam Sandler went to Netflix movies, that's when his quality of film went completely into the shitter. The rehashing of the old movies, feeling like they have to have 1,000 callbacks to the first movie. Do we really need to have a callback to the, and I don't even know if you'll remember this, Brian, because you're not as big a fan of it, but do we really need to have a callback to the old lady that the AC unit fell on in the first film in 5 seconds and have to play that scene back so that way you understood the joke reference? No, you don't need to fucking do that. It's not necessary. It's not needed. There's also a stupid part, which I'm just like, I can't tell if it ended up being a joke later, I would have been okay with it, but Chubbs, his son's in the movie, and Chubbs is also supposed to have a wooden hand, but you can clearly tell that the actor is just holding a wooden hand with a stick and has his hand in his shirt because the dude's arm is like so much longer than his other hand because of it. Now, if it was one thing where it's like you find out later that he's just holding this hand the whole time because he wanted to be like his dad, and that's the joke, like, okay, but no, that's not a joke that comes around. He just has a wooden hand. But why is his fucking arm like this much longer than his other one? It's lazy. And if it was in on the joke of it, I'd be like, okay, I get it, but it's not. Which is, at that point, it's just fucking stupid. But like I said, it's fine. Could it have been better? Absolutely. But it couldn't get out of its own way with stupid shit that it decides to do. There's 10 minutes of this movie that I heard got cut out where with other characters and I only know this because it's Nikki Bella, who's a former pro wrestler. She's got a part in this movie. Now, in the final cut, she's got maybe like a blink and you see her for a split second moment, but apparently she's got like 10 minutes of story and dialogue in this film with her and a bunch of other people that got cut. Why cut new shit? You could have cut out all the flashback crap and all the, hey, you remember this? Hey, you remember this? Hey, you remember this? And you could have kept that shit in the movie, and it probably would have made the movie better. I don't even know if that stuff that she was in was good, but it's better than you basically going, hey, you remember the caddy from the first film? Let's show scenes from that scene 4 times, so that way you guys remember all these jokes from the first movie. Hey, you remember this dude? Hey, you remember that? Like, it's Member Berries, the movie, and it's not good Member Berries. So, at the end of the day, though, I gave it 3 stars because I still had fun, but it's annoying at the same time. Also, I mean, granted, he has the money to do it, but his daughter in the movie is his actual daughter. But then he also makes sure to cast his other daughter in another part of the film, and then, of course, his wife in the movie as well. None of them are bad. I will give you that. None of them are bad in the movie, but one of them is supposed to be like someone from his like AA group and not related to him, but like they sit next to each other. Like, I can clearly tell that that's his daughter. You look like Adam Sandler. Why just not make that person like another daughter or a relative? Because you mean it, because at one point they have like a joke like, man, you're really cool. Yeah, I wish my dad was that cool. We get it, guys. She's your fucking daughter in real life. It's, but like I said, 3 stars still. I had fun with it, but it was also very annoying. Sorry for the very long, coughing-winded review. It would have gone faster, but I'm talking slower so I don't go into a cough break. I apologize. Now let's go to the final review. Brian, take over for me, please. I'm dying. Mute.
Oh, I'm muted. Sorry. Okay. So the last movie we both have seen. This is the movie Together. This is a movie that technically is opening on July 31st, I think. It's next Wednesday, whatever it is. But they had some early screenings as part of the different changes to their mystery movies. It was this film. This is a movie starring Dave Franco and Alison Brie, who, of course, real life couple. It's they're mainly the only two people in the most of this movie. There's one or two other characters that pop up here and there, but it's largely a two-person cast. And this is again, it's kind of a body horror movie. It's a movie where it's kind of a metaphor, I think, for codependency and stuff. It's like these two people are essentially literally growing together after they encounter some weird shrine underground up in the woods. I went into this with no real expectations. I mean, it's one of those where the trailer looked sufficiently creepy. It definitely had a good atmosphere to it. The two of them are there aren't two people that I really seek out for movies, but when they turn up, I usually enjoy them in it. I don't know why I've always kind of not really cared for Dave Franco. I don't know. Whenever I've seen him in a movie, he's been fine. I've enjoyed him, so I don't know why it is that I feel
the same way. As I was watching this, I'm like, why do I not like? There's nothing wrong with Dave Franco, but why do I just not care for him? It's kind of like Casey Affleck but Casey Affleck has done shit that makes you not like him. But it's like, is it because we're so used to their brothers that they just feel like, I don't know, but it's like there's nothing wrong with Dave Franco.
Maybe it's because maybe he just feels like the other Franco, although now he's the only one working. But whenever he's turned up and stuff, like I just rewatched Nerve. I thought he was good in that. The Now You See Me movies aren't great, but I mean he's fine in them.
He's hilarious in the 21 Jump Street.
He was in your favorite movie, Six Underground, with Ryan Reynolds. I know you love that one.
That movie.
But I like him. I like Alison Brie.
I love Alison Brie. Love her.
Except for Freelance. But
it wasn't her fault.
Again, not her fault. Yeah.
It wasn't her fault.
This movie, I don't really know how to describe this movie.
Thank you. As you were talking, I was like, I don't know how to talk about this movie.
Because in some ways, it feels like a very slow burn kind of movie. Because the dread and everything is definitely building kind of slowly throughout the entire movie until it kind of climaxes towards the end. But at the same time, it didn't feel slow. It didn't feel long. It felt honestly, it felt like a fairly short movie when I watched it. Because it's
runtime's definitely not the problem with this movie.
It's fairly simple in its plot. I mean, not a lot really happens. Like there's kind of the instigating event at the beginning, and then kind of a lot of kind of anticipation and kind of hinting at things, and then at the end it kind of obviously builds this big crescendo. So not a lot individually happens, but I think it's very well done. I mean, for an indie film, first of all, the special effects and stuff were really well done, including the sound design, which made it extra creepy and that worked for me. I thought their performances were great. I think obviously you buy them as a couple because obviously they have good chemistry because they are.
It's believable.
But I could believe them playing these versions of themselves where they're kind of a little bit codependent, but at the same time they seem to be very different and they want different things in life and what they've sacrificed for each other and what they wish they hadn't sacrificed, and you believe their marital squabbles, but you believe their love at the same time. And so it all works for me. And I think that relationship, their two performances, I think is what, anchors the film, because obviously it's all about those two. And so it works for me. I thought it was really good. At the ending, I kind of saw where it was going to go at the ending, and I was right. But at the same time, it wasn't like, it wasn't disappointing. I was like, okay, I see where they went with this, and I'm kind of digging it. But I enjoyed it. I gave it 3.5 stars.
The only unbelievable part of this movie is not the whole body thing. Is that Dave Franco apparently hasn't had sex with Alison Brie for months. That's the most unbelievable thing in this movie. Is that are you fucking kidding me? Like that's a plot problem in the movie. They're saying is that they haven't hooked up in months. Nope, not buying that. You just took me out of the fantasy at this point. But yeah, no, I'm kind of in the same boat. It's like because it's like. Runtime wise, it's very tight, but it's hard to talk about at the same time because everything that you want to talk about is technically spoilery. So you gotta
I have one big question about the movie that I can't talk about, not spoilers. So
okay, we'll talk about it off camera. I think they're both really good. I think if anything, they give Dave Franco really is given a lot more. He has to do so much more than Alison Brie in this movie in terms of performance, and I think Franco does great in this movie. Now, granted, he's not going to pop up on our best actors of 2025 when it comes to the award season, but as I was watching, I was like, dude, Franco's really because of the two. If I was thinking of who was the least actor, it would be Franco, because I think Alison Brie is capable of doing so much more. But I feel like because of what his character is and what he's going through, I feel like Franco does a really, really great job. I feel like he's more to chew on as a character than Alison Brie. She's good in the movie as well, but definitely Franco gets a lot more to do with the movie in terms of character and acting. The body horror stuff is, it's an experience, and I say that in a good way. It's probably the first time since probably Substance. Now, granted, that was not very long ago, but where I was like, ugh. And I mean that in a good way. Like, it's not like you want this movie wants you to feel uneasy. This movie wants you to feel grossed out, and it does a really good job. It still has a way to still have some humor to it as well. There's the scene. I'll call it the hallway scene. You know what I'm talking about when I say the hallway scene?
Not offhand, no.
When they're both in other rooms.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah. The physical acting in that scene from both of them, especially Alison Brie. If they used body doubles, okay. If they didn't, Alison Brie is a whole different level of limber than I never knew. But
right, she has some exorcism stuff going on there.
That is some exorcism Emily Rose type commitment, because that scene is physically exhausting for them in that moment. It's a great fucking scene there. Do I think we could have gotten a little bit more context or story to what was actually going on? Yes. But you know, I'm cool with what we got. Could I have liked a little more? Sure. But I do think that they both were great in the movie. I think they both deliver what they were trying to set out. And I was more excited about this than you were, because I was just hearing so much great word of mouth from like the festivals about this film. Didn't quite reach my expectations that I had for it. But I think in terms of what they were setting out to do, I think they do really good with it. And I think the body horror aspect, especially at the very, very end, definitely a nomination for What the Fuck award at the very end. But I gave it.
There's an earlier scene that had me going, "What the fuck," too.
Oh yes, that scene. Yeah. I'm just like, I
was laughing and cringing at the same moment.
Oh yeah, and then they just could have left it to your imagination, but no, they had to have one shot where I was like, fuck you for having to see that shot. You assholes. But god damn, that was a shot. What did you end up giving it?
I gave it 3.5.
I also gave it 3.5. I thought it was really good, and for the longest time I thought Franco directed it, but he didn't. It was Michael Shanks. But for some reason I thought Franco had directed it. I was like, dude, good job. But I was like, oh, it's not you, Franco. Sorry. But Franco did a great acting job. Alison Brie is good in the movie as well. But yeah, I liked what it was. I don't know what I don't know why I expected more. I think, but it was just like it was really good. I don't know what it could have done. Maybe not taken as long to get into the body horror aspect of it. Maybe it done it a little bit faster, and then maybe a little more not necessarily like exposition, but maybe explain what was going on a little bit better, because it's not done that well. That maybe could have bumped up the score a little bit, but what we got, I liked. I liked what we got out of it overall. Anything else you want to
add? No, except I was just like checking. Both Franco and Brie were producers on the film, so maybe that's what you were thinking of. Not even like executive producers, titled only. They were actual producers on it. So
gotcha. But yeah, that's the end of our reviews for July. We hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys did, go ahead and hit that like, share, and subscribe button to the channel so you guys stay up to date with all the latest videos that pop up on the Movie Crusaders. Of course, follow us on all the social media outlets you see below. Out right now, we have our non-spoiler and spoiler discussion for Fantastic Four: The First Steps. Like I said, also Superman and Jurassic World Rebirth, which came out earlier in the month. Those were the other July releases. They're out individually right now as well. Coming up next, don't really quite know. Like I said, we do have movies coming out in August. It's the end of summer, but we don't know if there are any of them that are really worthy of their own separate video, which means that you'll have plenty to talk about at the end of August with our end of August review dump. But we'll also have our end of summer review going into our fall end of the year preview. So we do have some big videos coming in at the end of August. Whether or not we do a decades of series before that, so we're not going a whole month without something, Brian and I will discuss that. But yeah, we do have some big films, not big films, but we do have some solid movies coming out in August, such as Nobody 2, Naked Gun, and Weapons, which I'm hoping is going to be the sleeper horror film of the year. So we do have some 3 noticeable movies, as well as many other films coming out throughout the rest of the year as well. Bad Guys 2 for animated. We hope you guys check all those out, and we will definitely be back at the end of August for those 3 videos. Maybe we'll have some going on like decades of here in between, just to give you guys something to watch. But we are the Movie Crusaders. I'm Sean Wascrew. That is Brian Michaels. Until next time, in case we don't see you, go watch some movies, go have some fun.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.